my laptop.
All right.
All right.
So the topics I wanted to add today was talk about proposal project mechanisms. So we have 4, 6, something, a number of funded proposals, and each one has a fixed timeline and a closeout and a bunch of stuff we want to accomplish. So it kind of looking at the para method, they are all clearly projects because they have fixed timelines, end dates, and deliverables. So I wanted to create some standard project management mechanisms around that, just to do a document that says, here's what we're doing, here's why we're doing it, here's how we're doing it, do the 5 whys and the how, and kind of outline our goals for it and use that as kind of a launching point to brainstorm the actual actions to do it. Because we have a bunch of ADA now, I think 120,000 ADA sitting in our wallet or something like that. So it's there. And like we said earlier before the recording started, that money needs to move for it to actually have power and the cleansing effect and making things grow and work. So let's do that.
We're going to be growing algae instead of, flowing through.
Yeah. And then
which is also good, but
doing an event retrospective, and I just wanted to talk about that a little bit, and then documentation tooling. And one of the things that I was reflecting on is at my previous job, we used a wiki. We use Confluence actually, but a wiki to do documentation and share notes and do stuff. And we're kind of Google Doc centric, but it's super hard to search. If you wanted to find something, you can't do it. They're all discrete documents, but a wiki kind of solves those problems. They're easy to create documents. Anyone can read them with a web browser. They have search functionality. A lot of them come with templates. So if you want to do this kind of page, it's pre-filled and you just fill in the blanks, and there's a lot of potential power there. So I wanted to just discuss the potential of exploring some wiki software.
And is it open source or is it pay per month?
It depends on what we pick. There are open source ones like MediaWiki is the one that Wikipedia itself uses. And that's a free one. There's a bunch of open source ones. And then there are higher tier paid ones like Confluence, although Confluence has a free version as well.
And that's the one that Gem uses, right? Confluence. Yeah. And that has those tasks, from what I remember a year ago was, that it had these great tasks that you could move, and it was really project management oriented, right? A lot easier.
It does have Jira integration, and Jira is kind of the task management, issue management kind of stuff as well. But yeah, but at a minimum, I wanted to look at a wiki, like the Confluence side of that, or MediaWiki, or one of the other ones.
Yeah, because we end up creating everything. We start from a document, add the table, the check boxes. We are recreating a lot of stuff that's definitely out there.
With a wiki, you could go new page, weekly meeting, and then everything would pre-populate, and then you just.
Okay, I like that already. I like the sounds of that. The only thing I don't like about that is learning a new platform. But I figure after a year of learning Google Docs, getting used to Google Spreadsheet instead of Excel spreadsheet, it's possible. So it never stops, right, Simon? The learning never stops. So
hey, Simon,
let's do it. It's probably a good time to introduce something new. And unless other platforms, anybody else? Newman, Simon? Do you have any other platforms you're familiar with that you prefer, or?
Oh, well, you want to talk about those now, or you want to go back in order? We could jump into, but I do, and I think just Kanban board or some type of like task, because I write down all my tasks, and that's that I think that are important, or while I'm doing meeting minutes or something, I put down actions, but they're kind of lost in the former documents. It's so some way of feeding back the the action items or the action items. Yeah.
Because that's a big one. Right now in our agenda, we write it down. Well, here's the link to the previous agenda, which requires us to click on that link, look at it. Have we done everything we should do? So those tasks, that checkbox thing doesn't automatically move forward. If there was some way of doing that, that to me would be really efficient, no matter what platform it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think I'm very familiar with Confluence, and especially if we do the Jira side as well, then it does have like ways of doing queries against the task stuff. So you can say all tasks from previous meeting that are uncompleted, and it'll just show them in a table so that you can. So there's not a lot of manual work to wrangle all that's needed. You can automate a lot of that.
So how are you going to teach us to use this? How are you going to teach? Sorry, I said us, but I said, how are you going to teach me to use this, Nori? It's all about me.
Yeah.
PBL module. Yep. The education.
Well, it
education
could be,
team.
Yeah.
like this is something, it's been an experience we've had. We've just been thrown into working online as a worldwide community. We're using Zoom, Google Docs. We've fallen into this pattern. How can we level it up as a community? And I think that being open to what other people have to offer and, the willingness to learn something new is important. So,
yeah. And I think what's really important is just getting in the habit of having these mechanisms in place. The tooling can change based on what's new and what people enjoy or like, but the process behind it is kind of what I want to work out. Like, for
like
every
that.
funded proposal, we make sure we have these kind of kickoff documents, we have a plan in place, we have a way of following up on actions and tasks and rewarding, and we can start with a set of tools to kick it off, but we can always tweak those tools underneath it. But I'd love to work out the mechanisms and just kind of have a understanding as a community. This is how we take everything to a more professional level, kind of, so that we're executing, we're delivering value, and we're remembering what we've done so we can learn from it.
Yeah, delivering value means to me measuring value. Like how do we measure it? How do we measure the impact, which is a big part of the event. Like that was really great.
Yeah. So Nori, you're talking about setting. It feels like you're saying you're setting up a template for proposal writing, or the whole process of writing a proposal, following through with it, the feedback, the end reports, getting commitments to doing these different parts of it.
Yeah, ultimately, I'd love to have
Accounting.
that end-to-end kind of thing in place so that we can deliver that out, because we're funded for doing that kind of organizational stuff. I'd love to focus right now on where I think we need a little bit of focus, which is the executing on the proposals.
Now, in this,
we get them funded, but the actual running of them in a community way is someplace I'd love to just kind of hammer on, and then build out the rest of it in a documented, maybe PBL kind of style after.
So in this, I'm sort of seeing, okay, we have this thing going on that we have to organize. How do you want to do it? Do you want to start jumping into the wiki and the Confluence, and just sort of ease us into this new platform, rather than trying to figure this out on Google Doc and say, this is where we are and this is the feedback? Do you want to start shifting us to that at the same time? And are you going to be doing this kind of, because you're basically like a supervisor in a factory, you're figuring out the process of how to make things work. That's how I see you right now. Is that what you're taking on, the role you're taking on?
Yeah, I'd love to just propose whoever's interested in working on this stuff that we can work together to figure out how to make this flow. But I'm happy to put the energy and my own background and expertise into it to make it happen. And then anybody else who wants to jump in and help contribute is totally welcome to, because I don't want it to be a Nori thing. I want it to be a community thing, but
us thing.
yeah.
So I'm really interested in it. It's again, interested in time. I can be interested in 10 things and not have enough time, because I have been a supervisor in the past, and it's very similar to that. It's like, you work production on something and you have a hiccup, something that just doesn't feel really smooth with your body or something you're doing. And that is what I can bring to this process, is sort of like, where's the hiccups.
Yeah.
As far as using the platforms and stuff, like maybe you can use me as that guinea pig, like here's a new platform, Melanie, how do you see it coming into this documentation or this process?
Yeah.
So
Where
they don't pay guinea pigs very well. They're actually not treated. So what you want to be is a user testing a professional, or user testing
something like that. And just feed me kibble, whatever it is at the end
no,
of the maze.
no. You want to be no guinea pig. Let's stay away from that. The guinea pig's
It's
not a good
terrible
story. How it
terms.
ends is not great, but
Terrible terms. And Simon, with GitHub as well, like we've been trying to do that, tried to move into GitHub, and oh my, I'm so sorry, Simon, but that seems, well, Simon, say something on that one.
Yeah, it's okay. I
He gave up long ago on
yeah,
me.
maybe it was my fault as well, because I got this idea of using GitHub for project management from someone I thought knows what he's doing, and then then I figured out, or then he told me I should do it in Google Docs, and I'm not gonna do too much in GitHub right now, other than software development.
GitHub to me reminds me of doing something Web 2, and then when you want it Web 3 on the blockchain, then you do it in GitHub. Am I getting that right or not?
GitHub is kind of a developer-centric tool. It's really built and designed by and for software developers. So
okay,
their mode of thinking is a little bit different, and they're okay with it not looking good, or okay with having to type commands on the command line, or doing things in a certain way. I agree, it's not the best for general person use, because it is difficult to understand all the concepts, and they haven't hidden it very well. It's not super easy. That's why I'm looking at wiki stuff, because I think that's way easier. And just thinking back to how we used it at my previous company, everybody used it fluently, from marketing to admin people to developers to managers. It was just super easy to use. So that's why I think it may be a more viable way of documenting what we do and keeping track of things. And some of the things I want to solve with this, because I think Google Docs are great for collaborative thinking and doing stuff, but
until you get to a spreadsheet that everybody's working on.
Yeah, but it's not searchable. It's hard to have that editing history and other things, and wikis are really designed for collaborative documentation creation.
So I was going to, accessibility for so general average person accessibility, internet accessibility, these are all things cost wise. Can anybody use this? Language, are there language barriers? Are there cultural barriers, country barriers?
Yeah,
it's good, right?
As accessible as possible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Before you came, we were talking earlier about, since we are talking about the tokenomics stuff, one thing that might be really interesting that I'm seeing thought about in other places is, if you have a certain number of gimbals, it unlocks things in your community. And for us, it could be, if you have 10,000 gimbals, you can convert that into an NFT or another thing that allows you to have a enterprise level Zoom account on the C4C Zoom. It
Mm.
enables you to have a unlimited Miro login that we pay for, or it allows you to have other things like a Loom account or whatever it is that we get cheaper because we're doing it in bulk. And we say that if you're so engaged that you've earned this number of gimbals, then we're very happy to pay 20 bucks a month to provide these.
Or $8 a month in Miro's case,
Yeah,
which we found out. And sorry, I booted you off as a team member because I'm sorry, that was a bad setup. You know, like, do you want Nori to be part of your team? Of course I want Nori to be part of my team. Click on the button. And then all of a sudden you're getting a bill for 4 months of Nori being an $8 a month member. And it's like, well, he could have done that for free.
yeah.
So without the, so we've got to, I'm really a skinflint when it comes to that, you know, paying for stuff we don't need to.
Some of it adds value, and I think the collaboration tools adds tremendous value. And those are things that we can't, because we have what, hundreds, not 100,000 ADA. We can pay for things. And we've been funded to pay for things. There's a technology budget. And like we said with currency, we got to keep it moving.
Yeah, as long as it's something like this mix up, you know, like I again, you know, like $24, 3 months, whatever, it's not a big deal. It adds up over time. And to me, it would be like $24 in Pike's world would buy a lot of stuff. So, you know, I'm just really careful about subscriptions and just adding on because I can see it being used somewhere else.
Right. The interesting thing about the gimbal token participation sort of thing is that it rewards members who are participating in a way that incentivizes more participation in the community. And that's sort of where it really strengthens the commitment. If you watch the rest of that documentation or that video, like, it's talking about the commitment. It's just like, I make a commitment to you, you make a commitment to me, and we sort of change that that currency, like, goes, and the flow goes between us, and all the while builds up value. If we were just to sort of do a straight turn for gimbals for dollars, for instance, then all of a sudden you're like, well, I could pay my rent, or I could get the, you know, this tooling, and you're like, well, I've got to pay my rent. So then it goes away, and it just pulls them away from the thing. But if you're like, oh, no, this is for more participation, I think it's a beautiful idea.
Simon, and then I've got a thought after you.
Yeah, just want to say, you know, not wanting to pay for things that we don't need to. I think it's a small line to walk on, because I saw it with my last boss. Like, he was kind of cheap, and sometimes it was really, yeah, I thought it was like, I would have paid totally useless for something, but other times it really took me a lot more time for just a few bucks. And
Yeah,
I think it's,
yeah, there's slow ways of doing things. If you've got time, quality, and what's the other one? The triangle. Time, quality,
And
quantity.
money, time, quality, and money.
Time, quality, and yeah, right.
Cost. Yeah, time, quality, and cost.
Yeah, so you can, if you've got the money, you get the tools. If you don't have the money, you take the time, or you don't get as much done.
Exactly.
Was that it, Simon? Sorry, I feel like I cut you off, but I agree.
no. That was really it. I think I don't think we should be like cheap, but on the other hand, not pay for stuff that's not necessary.
Yeah, so some sort of balance in between.
Yeah.
My thought was on the 10,000 gimbals, Nori. And again, we were just talking at the beginning not to hoard the 10,000, like, oh, I'm collecting the 10,000, but say we could see a movement somehow of 10,000 gimbals, then this kind of levels you up. You know, Henna was in the breakout room with me yesterday on this alternative currency, he calls it, and it's oh my goodness, you know, if I'd love to actually practice with this in C4C, use our group as an experiment, and maybe we don't use the alternative, maybe we use gimbals, you know, that we have this savings account and it's maybe Web 2, you know, off the book, so to speak. But you know, we have this savings that goes into everybody. We divide the gimbals up and we have a savings and a spending, and if we're spending it, we're flowing it, great, but that zeroes out. And if we're spending it on stuff that isn't community oriented or something like that, then it comes out of our savings. And I think what happens is in your savings, so to encourage, oh, but see, I'm talking about moving this and you're talking about your savings. So you want to have
Yeah,
some
well,
savings.
it's interesting.
We don't want to be just, you know, because you can get flushed, like by not having anything as a backup. But so a reasonable amount of savings, that whatever you have in your savings comes forward, it generates into income, spending money, and your savings is there. If you spend it on something that's not environmentally, anyways, I can't even explain it. Newman, you know it, but maybe there's something we can use with that.
Yeah, I think rather than saving, I tend to think of things as in like cash flow streams, income, and that flow comes in and then it needs to go out again or it stagnates.
So something
and
like a UBI.
maybe like
right?
UBI could be one way that it outflows again. But one thing is we should probably identify what our values are. And we have a rule here in my family that one of our core values is education and growth. So everybody in the family is allowed unlimitedly to spend on books, videos, courses, anything that helps personal growth, gym memberships, whatever it is. And we say invest in that and you become stronger, better, smarter, faster, whatever it is. And that's building up the family for the future. We do have like limited budgets for other things that aren't like that, for like going out to movies or going out to dinner or things. Those are like luxuries. But investment is that. Like,
and
it's not just monetary investment, it's investing in people.
It's interesting because in our family, it's not planned as much, but it's like, you know, my hope is that we spend our money on really good food, locally sourced, organic, supporting people, you know, that you know where it is, the stores that we want to keep, you know, the smaller stores, you know, so there's a value in that too, right? So yeah, figuring out your values and where you want to spend it. Newman.
So, and it's a two-way street. So you can say, here's our values, and so we spend this, or you can look at what you spend on, and then that shows up with your values. And when there's a mismatch, then you're on a real safari. You know, you're like, okay, what's not operating here? What's not connecting? I love the idea of value and money, because I do think that that's one of the things that, like, I don't feel like I have like we were talking about earlier, like supporting the economy with my money, but I do support my values with the money. This is something that I got from my grandmother, who was just like, I'm not going to spend money here anymore. And that's how she's like, vote with your dollars.
Yeah.
She's like, you got to vote with your dollars. And she was capitalist. So like that I love this money value discussion, because it's very hard to pull it out in our system. Pulling money away from values is very difficult. So we should embrace it and be aware of it, and then really use that.
How could we do it within C4C though? We don't have bananas for sale. We do have, you know, we don't have educational programs. Gimbal Labs is setting up some of their own. You know, in our ecosystem, how can we do that? Andre, you just made a noise, so you're up.
I think, yeah, maybe you can, a start can be to maybe pay the people who do the work for you guys, you know, pay yourselves.
Right, we value the work that we do, and so we show that value with money. Yeah,
Mhm.
I think that's a good way.
I like what Lloyd said yesterday too about the triple bottom, you know, taking care of his people in his businesses, and the businesses that he supports, he's setting them up for success so that they don't have to be asking for funding. You know, if we can go on that model as well for ourselves first, and then we set up our other community members to also be self-sustaining. Yeah. And then we can use Project Catalyst for seed funding for the initial seeds, and then we start planting and harvesting our own crops, because that's my dream.
We definitely need to brainstorm income flows, because right now our sole income flow is proposals. And
Mhm.
that's not long-term sustainable. So we need to really think about that. Like, is it through some kind of donation mechanism? Do we get grants from countries,
Other sources, yeah.
institutions, other places? Do we do a stake pool like Swarm? Because Swarm stake pool brings in X thousands of ADA per month. And even at a minimal level, it would help us run some basic operations without having to stress about having to do
We've
it.
got
but
100. Yeah, I mean, we've got
you could
enough to do that. Yeah.
you could still do it with another pool though, like in combination. We don't have to create our own pool, do we? Or is it just easier for the books?
It's easier for the books unless we have somebody who's highly aligned C4C member that says, I will do it as a C4C pool. Because I think one of the way, because the important thing with stake pools is you need to get delegation. And I think the C4C brand has enough recognition in the community now that people would delegate. We'd probably be a very high on the list for IOG and Cardano Foundation delegation.
So in that though, like CNC has had that problem, right? With even the IOG delegation, people don't delegate to it, and then the funding stops and they have to start all over again. Can we combine with Salmon Nation? Like, could we combine in this? I don't know how that works. And Afia, I see your hand up.
Hello, good afternoon. Oh, sorry, it's good afternoon here.
No worries. no worries.
It's good day. Any day you're here, it's good day.
That's right. That's
It's a
right.
good day.
I was looking for the link all over the place, and I finally found it. Okay. I don't know whether you've thought about getting tokens done, NFTs. I don't know whether you've ever discussed that for fundraising.
I'm thinking about NFTs. I just took a picture of another snail this morning. You know,
Yeah,
another.
because there's this guy who is trying to create some for us, Catalyst Africa for the core team, and then later he will translate to the whole team. So I don't know whether we can get him to explain it to the team, and then without like the snail pictures and all those things we can tokens from it. And then he says he would mint it, and then he will take, when it's sold, he will take the minting price and then give the rest of the money.
So is it
whatever.
possible for this person to come next Friday? At the
I
same
would
time?
ask him. Yeah, I'll ask him. He was supposed to come meet the African Town Hall team next.
And what time
no.
is Africa Town Hall today, by the way?
No, it's not today. It's
Oh.
bi-weekly, so it's next week.
Okay, good, because I'm thinking
he
impact.
He would not. Yeah, he'll not be able to come next Friday because we wanted him to meet the town hall, and he said he's traveling, so he'll be coming in the following 2 weeks, the next 2 weeks. So maybe what we can do, he might not.
We're losing you there, Afia.
He might not be able to come just a week today. but then might happen 2 weeks today.
So can you
Because we
invite
needed-
him? Can you invite him to the
Yeah.
Telegram chat? And then we can
Okay.
also talk there and
Oh.
ask about that.
Okay, I'll talk to him, and then I'll let him have the Telegram chat as well.
Because I see this also as if we can create this template, support somebody who's minting these, make it really simple. You've got a project, you need to raise funds. This is how we do it. This is how you
Yeah,
can do it. And we'll support and buy this NFT, like Shlomo Kohan, right? With the Apocalypsia.
yeah.
We can promote the NFT within our community because we recognize these different projects. Yeah, cool.
That would
Okay.
be, yeah, I'm not familiar with that one, Afia. If you've got a link to share, that'd be cool. I can put it in these little meeting notes. Or it's pictures of snails, the NFT work?
No.
No.
She's
I was
connecting
saying
the
that-
snail to
Yeah,
us.
I was saying that with all those pictures of snails that we have as C4C team, we can create an NFT around that. That's what I was trying to say.
Oh, and you may know like a graphic artist, because I think that would be cool. I mean, it's some way
Yeah.
that because another income stream would be fundraising, right? And NFTs are a way of fundraising. Because we could all contribute, especially if I like that a lot.
So
So he was just saying that we should just get the pictures that we want. We should just make sure that we have copyrights to the picture.
the original snail picture is mine. And so I have the original. I don't have the original snail shell because it was a shell. Unless I find it, Nori, then that might be valuable as well because it's a year old somewhere in my pile of stuff. There's a few other people that mint as well. There's Damien from Cardano Trees, who's figuring out how to layer on NFTs, which to me is like, wow. And the metadata, so whoever we mint with, getting an understanding of the capabilities of NFTs would be really important, so that we can not only understand it for ourselves, but when somebody else comes to us and say, I hear about NFTs and they're making lots of bucks, I'm going to raise some money, how can I do it? We have some understanding of the bones of this, who's doing it, the cuts, what works, if it's a buy it once and you hold it, is it kind of like an ID, or do you hope to sell it and make money on it more? There's a whole bunch of stuff around NFTs. And again, that's one of those things that gets lost in the greenwashing and it could get a really bad name. So if we can dig into it and figure this out. Cardano, Damien, and there's also Doobie, who's connected with Tyler and Tagain in the Regenerate Yem project. And he's got some really neat ideas about NFTs as well.
Yeah, I looked into NFTs as well. If any one of you has access to DALL-E 2, I'm burning to try that. If you haven't heard, you should really check it out.
Access to what was that?
DALL-E 2. Do you know about it?
Drop it in chat.
I hear
AI that
I hear
created
Delib Tube.
DALL-E 2 is, I think that's the AI that generates art. That is
Please look at YouTube video on it. It is insane. It is crazy.
Because you can say, give me a picture of a snail riding on a horse, and it will create this amazing picture that is that. And you can say in the style of DALL-E or in the style of Picasso, and it'll figure that out. And
so that reminds me of what Gimbal Labs did with the release of NFTs, and you could pick different art styles, and that's basically Photoshop and filters. So if my daughter's starting to get very deep into photography, so she could actually take the snail picture or a picture, a new one, and turn it into those different filters and have the originals.
Yes, if your daughter is interested in that, she can sign up on a waiting list and then get access early.
She's not interested in so much the creating the NFTs. She's doing the photography part of it.
Yeah, but she's probably doing Photoshop, right?
No, it's more than Photoshop. It's the other one.
Lightroom.
I think it's Lightroom. It's deeper because she has a proper camera.
I think Photoshop is kind of the deepest you can go with a graphic.
I think it's
design,
Lightroom,
but
and you can.
But
I
you can
think-
do other
anyways.
things as well. You can add other. Yeah, you can do a lot more with others. You can do a lot with other things as well. But
So
DALL-E might be interesting to her. I think one thing you can do with DALL-E that I think is crazy cool is you can take objects from the image and replace them with something else, and it completely generates the background and everything.
So one thing I'm kind of concerned about with the NFTs is because we are an environmental, climate related, and we have people on the ground. If we get too digital in the images, we may lose our connection, right? Like,
Yeah, it doesn't-
Nora, you mentioned a snail on the back of a horse. It's kind of cute, and maybe some people, but for me, it's like, oh my God, that doesn't work for me. But I'm me, right? I'm not everybody, and that could be really cute for some people.
I think
I'm thinking
NFTs
about Helen in
have different
permaculture.
uses.
Yeah, I
Sorry?
think the usual cat laser eye NFT would not work.
No. So somewhere, and maybe it's a way to show the diversity of our group, even taking that snail picture as an example and the real life one and digitalizing it. Are you on the spectrum of being the real life boots on the ground, or are you the tech side? Are you somewhere in the middle? So it can be the both and. My concern is that we get too funky with that. And I see the time. Maury, I think your clock is right up there, isn't it?
Yeah, we're getting close to the hour. So I just wanted to rein it in a little bit. We had a few topics. I think the NFT, the fundraising, stake pool, donation drives, things are all great. We should probably have a session just to talk about Cardano for Climate income flows, as well as the project stuff and talking about the outflows of how we pay it out and kind of have a full picture thing.
Can we do at the weekly meetups, like NFTs, an topic of NFTs, a weekly meetup? James with the NFT release that he had, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think, yeah, that'd be great. I would love to go even a step higher and just talk about C4C income and ways we can do it, because NFTs are one way to do it, but it could also be like a utility NFT to say, if you buy this, it unlocks these features in our Discord server or other things, or access to these tools, or special VIP lunches with Melanie, or whatever it is. It unlocks these
in
NFTs.
Cherryville. Yeah.
That is really what NFTs are, right? You gotta have some utility, and you could argue that art is a utility in a way, but yeah, I'm not. I think there's a lot of art utility going on in Cardano already.
So definitely a big, yeah. I'm thinking Lloyd's triple bottom line, income, people, and impact, I think.
We could even do like annual donation drives, and then the NFT is kind of a symbol to say I donated, and it's kind of a trophy rather than something that's art or utility as well. So there's a lot of potential there. But yeah, but I'd love to talk about possible stake pool stuff, donations, NFTs, and the income. And then we also had on just talking about the project systems and getting those underway. I think that'll help with the organizing the outflow and how we spend at least the funded proposal stuff. And that's essentially all that we have for income at this point. So I think that's a good focus for that. But as we start getting other forms of income, we probably want to start talking about how does C4C spend that money. And it could be core hub stuff and get away from proposal support, or it could be we do the tithing kind of mentality, and 10% of all our income goes to some charity so we can help boots on the ground or whatever it is. I think we need to come up with those kind of ideas. But as takeaways, is it okay if I start pushing forward with some kind of wiki? And
How does this look? Does this tell you what I think? Please, please do. Yeah. Yeah.
If I can help anyhow, Nori, just ping me.
Okay.
Just announce the meetings, or if you can, rather than just, you know, if it's you and Simon privately, if you can announce it somewhere in the working team that you're getting together talking about this, that'd be great. And then if I have time, I'll jump in and interrupt you guys. If you want to keep it private and keep me out of it, then don't advertise it.
Yeah, we can find ways of working. Like one effective tool that I discovered yesterday was I had a meeting in my calendar with Randall, and we hadn't set up a Zoom link or anything. So I just went on Discord and I saw he was on there, and I found a channel where he was in a voice channel. So I just hopped in, and Peter and a few other people were there, but we just started talking. So we do have a Discord server, so we could probably use it, the meeting rooms, a little more, and just have drop-ins and ongoing.
Yeah, I tried that when I joined Catalyst, but I've always felt like, you know, when I wasn't in there, I felt like, oh, am I in there not yet? Now, and am I muted? Can everyone hear what I'm talking right now?
Yeah.
I got totally paranoid, so I stopped doing it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But it might be a cool way of just signaling, like Zoom calls, you need to have the link to join so they can be private. But if it's on the Discord server in one of the meeting rooms, it's open to anybody to drop in if you notice that it's happening.
As long as you have your notifications on for Discord, which I don't, because I can't stand that beep all the time. Every time I can't find where the beep's coming from on Discord. So
I have a trick, Melanie.
Yes, Simon.
I'm not sure how many servers you have, but I mean, I manage it with 100 as well. So if you right click on the server on the left side, you can silence it. You can mute it. You can mute the server. And it gives you multiple options, like you can mute it for 24 hours, or you can mute it until you turn it back on. I have all my servers, I have on mute until I turn it back on.
Somebody's not muted, whoever it is. Most of mine are, otherwise it would be going off. But I don't even have my Discord open because of that. So there's probably something that isn't muted. Yeah.
Simon, so how do you turn them on to get, so it's just like when you're like, because then it's just all muted. That's kind of how I've got it. But I would like to, you know, get like most important stuff.
You can override channels too. So you can say, right click on a channel and say override server settings, which is muted, to just get announcements or at everyone's or just at me. So that's what I do too. I mute everything and I only have at me turned on. And that helps manage the 78 Discord servers. If someone wants to get a hold of me, at me, and I'll see it.
Oh, now we know that. Now we know the key.
Yeah.
At everyone or at Nori.
I turn off at everyone as well.
Yeah, good.
Abuse that too much. They don't know how to use it right, so I turn those off.
Good. Okay, so just over the hour. Afia, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
No.
Good.
For now.
Oh,
No,
Miro should be here. It's too bad that Miro isn't here, because you just went no, and Miro goes yes. yes. Okay, that's good. So we hear you, and yeah, anytime, just feel free to jump in.
Yeah. So when I get in touch with him and he's okay for me to add him onto the Telegram group,
it's an open one.
Send him there. Okay.
Afia, while I have you and Nori here, though, Nori, have you looked into the gimbal or the PPBL course?
PBL, I haven't. I've been meaning to start. They just started week 4, so I feel a bit behind, but I figure it's okay to jump in now.
Yeah, because Afia was just asking about it. You know, that's a really beautiful connection with WADA
Mhm.
and that PBL course.
Mhm.
It's probably too late. Any idea when the next one would start, or is that not determined yet?
I've been out of touch for over 30 days now, so
Yeah.
I would hop into the Gimbal Lab server.
I gave her the tutor PPBL tutor channel. So Afia, I think if you jump in that in Discord, that's where you're going to get the most up to date.
Okay.
And as a teacher, I would really see the value in just looking at the course and saying, yeah, I like this, or I would, because James is so open to collaboration on the course material itself,
Absolutely.
and it will iterate. There's a built-in iteration that the students can actually make the course better over time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's
Oh.
no longer the teacher at the front of the class with the stick flipped.
Yeah. Also, since Afia is here, she had a chat with me the other day about best practices around running town halls and things. And Melanie, you shared a document the other day that Swarm produced on town hall stuff.
I did.
Actually, I saw it
See
in
that?
one of the C4C Telegram groups.
Mm-hmm.
So I've downloaded it.
Okay, so you've seen it. Okay, I was wondering
Yes,
you
yes.
saw that PDF.
Yes. I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen it. Thank you.
Sorry,
Thank you.
Nori, I've made people wedding dresses and they come up to me and tell me, you made my wedding dress. And I go, I did. So that document is lost in my mind as far as where it is.
That's good.
Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah, that-
scary.
You pasted
Actually,
it.
I
and
think
then-
it's on the education. You put it on the education platform, the C4C education platform. It's there.
So running a town, I'm curious about that because maybe I just forwarded the link and didn't really actually read it. So running a town hall.
After
Yeah,
town hall playbook. Yeah, I've got it right here. Ha ha ha.
Okay.
How to run
Newman.
a town hall. Yeah.
Okay. So after, oh yeah, Newman, I think you shared that. How to run an
Mhm.
after town hall, and I forwarded it, if anything.
Yeah.
That's what I think I saw.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it wasn't something that really sunk in. Otherwise, it's like,
Okay.
that's my butterfly thing, from one to the, I can't remember all the flowers where I've been. So,
All right.
Not necessary. It's not
okay,
necessary.
good. We got it.
We're gonna
We got it.
get Confluence, and it'll be
Solve
good.
everything.
It'll
It's
be,
gonna solve everything.
it'll be searchable. Yeah.
It'll be
Okay, good.
searchable.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm curious about that. This was a good meeting. We're winding down. Is everybody feeling good?
Mhm.
I'm really good. I got
Sweet.
tomatoes to prune.
That sounds great. That sounds great.
Okay, thank you
Yeah.
guys. We didn't do the event debriefing, but that's definitely for Monday for the planning team.
Yeah.
Is good because there'll probably be lots, going over forms, and
Yeah.
then at the core team as well.
Yeah.
I was hoping maybe we can use next week. Maybe that's also in line with Nori's idea. Maybe we can use next week a little bit to get our finance in order and pay out people and stuff like that.
Like we were going to do today, Andre.
Yeah, we might have to organize another treasury meeting where we just do treasury.
Before. I think it seems to be that it has to be a separate one, and Yoram's back on Monday, so it'll feel better with everybody.
everyone.
Yeah. And please, unless you don't want me at that meeting, please let me know about it, because then I'll see if I can jump in.
No,
Okay.
yeah, it's, you just let me know when you guys are all available. Then we need to do it.
Nori, how about you? Like, how's your week looking? Right?
I can probably manage something. Why don't we start it at the core team meeting as one of the topics, and just focus on those two things as event reflection. And I'm happy to run the reflection if you want. And then the treasury meeting just to talk about immediate payouts and what are we going to pay just to get things moving.
Yes.
And it's an experiment, so we don't have to get it right. If it feels wrong later, we can adjust and do stuff. But
Yeah,
let's-
sounds good.
let's get the money flowing so it can do some good out in the world.
So there's actually 3 things for core team though, is planning Wednesday's meeting and kind of an ongoing impact fest if possible, or that gets planned on Monday.
Yeah, that's a big one to like you know, with the 2 weeks, like getting the proposers into the slots to present during the town halls.
So let's do a debrief. Half of Monday, half is debrief. Well, let's do a third debrief, a third of ongoing impact fest in the other events, you know, ongoing how we are promoting this until voting, and then a third to planning the weekly meetup. That would probably be enough, and then it'll constrain us from going too far. There are task lists and stuff like that. That almost feels like the accounting that needs to be taken separate, because that's the process of event planning on top of the actual event planning. So we've got these 2 layers, and in saying that, those setting up the processes need to be paid for, as well as the actually doing of the stuff. So sometimes it gets forgotten.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
can
we
talk
can
about
mint an NFT for the processes, and every time we use it, we pay for it or
Yep.
something. I don't know.
Truly.
Eventually,
Okay.
we'll do little fish model, but
Put it out there, yeah. Okay, so there's so many different things, and we could probably carry on. I think we're done. Anything else? So is that good at the Tuesday? Does that feel like we're going to get it done?
Well, and if we don't finish it, then I mean, but those are important topics, and we can, you know, like that's a lot to fit into an hour meeting, but we can do it, and then
Because I'm also thinking documentation now, Nori, for Tuesday, because we've got event debriefing, we've got accounting, we're going to check the Wednesday meetup, and then there's also this process that's starting to come in, which is also important. So I think our agenda's filling up.
yeah, process stuff we can do slowly over time though, so we don't need a lot of time. We can
Maybe just an intro to it though, and that, you know, invite people to help you with that, and because that's important.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
right.
Okay,
All right.
Okay.
good. Thank you,
All right,
everybody.
thanks,
Enjoy
everyone.
your
Yeah,
weekend.
maybe.
Afia, did you say something?
Okay, thank you. Thank
Okay.
you. Thank
Coming.
you.
What
See you
is
next
happening
week.
What's happening this weekend that we might need to be involved in for Impact Fest? Swarm,
Warm.
take a break. What do we do?
Ooh, yeah. What's on the agenda for Swarm on Saturday, tomorrow?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. Did they publish?
There's a Discord channel, but lately there haven't been a lot of breakout rooms. There's been just one person showing up with something.
To say, to talk about?
Yeah, like last week was the first time I've seen 2 breakout rooms in a while.
Mhm.
'Cause we
Yeah.
did the club along with the Catalyst Circle stuff.
So, and would anybody be game for doing mini Impact Fest, like allowing, I'll check the form, like as soon as we're done here, I'll go look and see if anybody signed up. Because I put Swarm, Africa Town Hall,
Ooh,
Latam, Pacific, C4C. We'll see if we've got other people and maybe try and push that a little bit. I'll do a little bit of work on that right now to let people know, especially if they've felt like they've missed something really big, because they probably did, because that was pretty big yesterday.
Yep.
Especially if they were 101. If they were
Yeah,
coming
more
in.
than that, because it was streaming live as well.
So very cool.
Super
Meetup,
great.
did we have numbers on it, Nori, or not?
I haven't looked, but
Yeah.
definitely stuff to gather up.
Yeah, All right. Okay. So anyways, let's
Okay.
Enough stuff to do over the weekend.
I'll take a little look at planning that stuff in the next little bit, and then I got to get outside. Okay. Thank you,
All
everybody.
right. Bye, y'all. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Ciao. Arrivederci.
Ciao.